Well, hello, welcome to this edition of Business Spotlight. It's my absolute pleasure today to be joined by Jason Treeby from Devon Holidays. Good morning, Jason.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for inviting me on.
My pleasure. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about your journey and your business at Devon Holidays. And so let's, in fact, start there. Could you tell me a little bit more, Jason, about yourself and about Devon Holidays and about how long you've been in business for?
Certainly. So since I left school, I have been in the customer service industry for a majority of my life in different ventures. I've been in whether it's finance, whether it's been insurance and such like. But majority of my life I've been in IT. And predominantly more in a kind of IT director's role based in the city for managed services partners. So we basically provided IT for major organizations across the city or actually right across the UK. And that's dealing with CIOs, CTOs, managing directors, IT managers, etc., in relation to the IT that our company was providing to them. And that was very much of a challenging role, having to explain when outages had gone on, etc. So quite stressful. Leaving home at usually 4:30 in the morning, heading to the city, being at my desk for 7:30 in the morning, and then being home gone 8 o'clock at night. Like many people, I saw myself as being invincible, and until one day I wasn't, and I had quite a serious mental breakdown when I just said I can't do it anymore. I just cannot do this, and that was back in December 2017. We actually had our own holiday let down in South Devon. And so some of my focus during my rehabilitation was to let's focus on that, see what we can do, see how we can develop this as a brand, as it were. And we actually found that through the constant input and etc., working with things like SEO and other areas, we were actually one of the leading companies in that area, or one of the leading holiday ventures in that area. And we actually had 98% occupancy within our unit, which was brilliant. I'd also set up a WhatsApp group for other owners, and we had good chats around what we did, how we were doing it compared to that of the resort. So the resort quite prominently, rent out, and they use very large organizations to advertise, etc. So they were very much interested, how am I getting our lodge up to the forefront of potential guests when, they were renting through the resort and weren't having many bookings, etc., coming in. And so from that, it was actually requested by a couple of owners that actually, rather than you telling us how it's done, would you do it for us? And that's really where this bore out. So in 2021, we had our first live customer, as it were, and that was off the back of COVID. So, COVID lockdown, there was still the restrictions that you couldn't go abroad, etc., and the staycation boom in the UK was at its highest. And that lodge, from even before we went live, was booked up, and we had near enough 100% occupancy. And then near enough through word of mouth, we had a second lodge came on. So came to January 2022, we had 2 lodges. Fast forwarding to where we are today, we now have 22 lodges. So the growth has been brilliant. It's all been through word of mouth. We don't actively advertise, this is what we can do for you, Mr. Lodge owner. It's all been through people seeing the throughput of guests, but it's not just about the throughput of guests coming into the business, it's about the quality of those guests as well. We're not just putting £100 a weekend jobs, which we could sell easily, but the guests or the owners themselves would find they won't make any money from it. So it's about the quality of guests. It's about the getting the right type of level of pricing and the right pricing model. It's around the marketing and so on and so forth. So this is now my full-time role. So I head up the whole company. I've got a few staff that work for me. So I've got an operations associate who is based on site or near the site, who basically goes in and just meets and greets the guests. So when they arrive, are you okay? Is everything all right for you? And giving that personal touch, which, the resort can't. They've got 500 lodges, so there's no way that they can offer that personal touch. But we can offer and just say, is everything okay? Just the odd text message. Is everything going all right? Do you need any suggestions for, local attractions? Do you need anything for the sites, anything that you actually need, or can we help with, and everything else, and the feedback that we're getting, and that's where it comes mainly. Where a lot of our guests come back is whether it be via TripAdvisor, Google, Facebook. All of the reviews we're getting are 5-star. So, which is great, not only for myself, but it's for my team as well. So whether it be the hot tub guy, our housekeeping team, marketing, who you name it, we've got a wide range of people working for me, and they all enjoy it as well. They enjoy seeing, one, the bookings coming in, whether you're marketing and sales, you see the throughput, the bookings, or whether you see the great reviews that are coming through saying how nice and clean the lodges are, and very strangely how nicely they smell as well, and how clean they smell when they walk in. All these type of things are really great for the housekeeping team, and also for our operations team as well. So we thrive very much on that.
Great. Well, Jason, I'm sold. I'm going to book in for a Devon holiday lodge, definitely. And Jason, you mentioned some really interesting things there about how you've got right from the beginning get your business to stand out. You mentioned the importance of SEO in the beginning, and clearly that business, great customer service, a great offering and product overall. Is there anything else you would say that you've done to particularly get you to stand out, or does that cover everything?
So basically, we started off by having individual websites for individual lodges.
Right.
But as that built up, we saw that we couldn't potentially grow the business that way. It was very onerous. So invested heavily into having a kind of travel agency type website. So basically showcasing all of our lodges. And put them all on there. You can search and everything else. And we've got a very good partner that we use for our booking system. And they have some very good widgets that will basically just show the properties in different formats for different searches. And it's pulling straight from our booking system, which has been great. And as we mentioned, showcasing that with regards to the SEO part. So SEO is very, very important and pushing us quite high up the tree. But as anyone will know, it doesn't happen overnight. This is very much a marathon rather than a sprint with SEO. And surprisingly, majority of our bookings come from Facebook.
Right.
So Facebook buy and sell groups, or our Facebook page, etc. Excuse me, the dog's obviously wanting to join in.
No worries.
So yes, so whether so Facebook is very much the forefront, as well as TripAdvisor. So people see our adverts on TripAdvisor, or not our adverts, sorry, our reviews on TripAdvisor, and a lot of the guests will quote where they purchased the lodge from or where they purchased the holiday from, which obviously drives business. We do use other booking websites, which are probably not allowed to name, but we use some of those, the big players. But what I was surprised about as well is for how much SEO plays a big part in some of these major booking organizations as well, whether it be the size of the photos, whether the alt tags of the photos. So I've learned quite a bit around that area. And obviously, looking at Google My Business and getting yourself listed on Google My Business. And what we're trying to do is how much can we do for free? We haven't got the big budgets like the major organizations to say, right, we're going to use Google ads or pay-per-clicks or that type of thing, because we just, we'd bankrupt ourselves. So it's what we can do for the shortest or the least amount of money, but still showcase us. And I think that's where the SEO from the booking place, Google, my business, and also our website clicks in, as well as having a very strong social media presence.
Brilliant. And it's fascinating, isn't it? Because it's a very physical business at the end of the day that you run, but clearly launched and grown through the digital world, which is
indeed
physical, virtual. Incredible. So fascinating story so far then, Jason. Looking ahead to the future, what are your aspirations now for Devon Holidays? And also, what do you see as some of the main challenges that you could at this stage?
It depends if you ask me or my wife. And so for me, I'd like to grow the business and double it in the next 5 years. I don't think she could take the stress of me, working the hours and pushing myself, as well as utilizing all the staff to do that. But as I said, I'm happy in the position we currently are now. We're consolidating where we are now and keeping the lodges we've got. Some of the issues we have are very much around keeping the lodges in order. And obviously having that conversation with the owners where the lodges aren't hitting our standards. So whereas beforehand we were happy to take just the properties on board, we're now looking at ourselves, and mainly from my main corporate world and marketing world, is trying to be best in class. And being best in class doesn't necessarily mean the amount of bookings you've got coming in, it's the quality of the product. So it's the quality of the lodge. Are the guests really happy? Do they walk in and have that wow factor within the lodge? And if they don't, why don't they? And we've actually got a few people that we know in the area to go and say, okay, if you're a guest, you're walking in here, what's your experience? What do you like? What don't you like? What would you change? Into a few of the lodges, and the difficulty is having that then conversation with an owner to say, actually, some people, this is what they're saying about your lodge, and trying to be tactful, because it is their baby, and it's also meaning that they might have to spend some money which they may not want to. So that's very much of a difficulty. We've also got the struggle with cost of living. So obviously we're in very much of a crisis at the moment for cost of living, and a lot of uncertainty. And with that, people aren't necessarily booking as they used to. So we're seeing quite a few short, I say not short stays, but people are booking at last minute. So I want to book next week, because they can actually see, oh, we've saved up enough, we can actually go now for this next week. And having those short turnarounds and making sure that all the staff on site are aware of a short turnaround. And when you have potentially 21 short turnarounds, which we've had this half term, people were booking up maybe a week before half term, and suddenly that, the cleaners or the housekeeping team have to get the right amount of people in and mobilize people. And they're turning around saying, can you give us some notice? And I'm like, no, we can't, because the guests aren't giving us notice. As soon as they come in, we're not going to turn guests away, but, you need to ramp your side up. But as I said, it's growing. We're all understanding how the dynamics of the world is currently. Like summer, by this time last year, we'd have had summer booked up for all of our lodges. Now, because we've taken on quite a few other lodges, we have vacancies over the school holidays, and that's not a marketing plug, but
it can be.
But yeah, we've still got school holidays, and we've got a few booked in for Christmas, and next year quite often we'd have probably half the Christmas bookings coming in. So it's very much, we feel, is to do with the economic climate, and everyone blames Brexit or this, that and the other, but I really just think it's to do with can people actually heat their house first and put food on the table, and if they can put a little aside, right, what can we afford, and making sure they can afford the right property, which is understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can see that how that's changed for you quite a lot. I mean, looking back overall at your journey so far, is there one, if you could pick one lesson in business, what would it be?
Oh, crikey, well, only one. Um, we've kind of wasted money on different things that we thought would work. So we hired an integration tool that would integrate between our booking system and some of the major booking, major booking organizations. And that didn't work as we had hoped or we had sold. We wasted probably about £4,000 worth of our money, which could have been spent elsewhere. We've learned and revised our website as well, just to make it more appealing and easier to use. And again, that's leaked money from the company. So all of these things were learning curves, and it's all things that we think, oh, this would really work, and oh, this would be a lifesaver, and oh, this would be, and then you find out actually it's not. It's just really costs a lot of money. And it's also things like finding the right partner for SEO, because so many people say, oh yes, we can do the SEO of your business and promise you the Sahara Desert, and you fall for it thinking, yeah, this will work. I could see this working, and then find it didn't. So we've actually working quite closely with actually a company based in Basingstoke now, who are doing our SEO site, and it's been, by far the best link that we've had, and we've seen some really good growth in terms of numbers onto our website. So we were hitting to start with roughly about 70 to 80 people per day on our website. We've grown to about 250 people per day on our website, and that's quite stable. Yes, occasionally we have drops, but we've got a good steady throughput of visitors.
Great. So yeah, so a few different lessons there. So
yeah,
thank
definitely.
you for that. It's kind of a similar question, but if you could be transported back in time to meet Jason at 18, what's one piece of advice you would give Jason aged 18 about being in business or starting business?
To be honest, and this is going to sound really, really cheesy, but I wouldn't give any advice, being that you learn from your mistakes. Every single mistake that all of us make in life has led us to the path to where we are now. Yes, potentially I would have said, don't break your neck for an organization, and if you're struggling or time-wise or it's not fitting in, it's okay to speak out. Don't just go with it thinking it's the norm because you see the other directors doing just that or whatever, without realizing they only live 5 minutes down the road and not 2.5 hours away. So it's probably that, more around the mental health aspect. But in terms of business, I would not give any advice, because I really think that you learn from your mistakes, and you are who you are because of your past.
Fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree. And well-being being super important to everything we do, right?
Definitely.
So, Jason, my kind of penultimate question is, clearly a successful journey so far, and particularly in the recent few years with the business, and good, exciting plans for the future, amongst some consolidation as well, as you talked about. So what really inspires you to keep going?
My family. Basically through my breakdown, etc., I just felt very, very low, etc. But they were the rock for me. And now it's very much about building the business up, to form a good enough income to kind of catch up from where I left off. At this moment in time, I've not actually earned a penny from the business. All the money that I've earned, I've plowed straight back into the business to help it grow. So, when I'm talking about terms of websites or people setting up the booking systems for us, etc., all the money I've earned, I've plowed straight back in or into our staff. So one, it'd be nice to earn something. And secondly, I love this business to grow. At the moment, it has the potential sales of being over £1.4 million revenue coming in to the business, which is built from absolutely zilch. So they have been my supporters, and I'd like to basically build it up so it's big enough, and show that I am a success, mainly for myself, I guess, as well, to show that I am worth it and I can do it, following the journey that I've been on. And also, I still keep in contact with the people that I was actually in hospital with over at the Priory, and they've been following my journey, and they've been very much supportive and everything else. And when they can see how much the business is growing, they've been very much there with their pom-poms and cheering on from the sidelines. So, which has been really, really nice.
Amazing. So I'm sure you're very inspiring to them as well.
Yeah.
So Jason, lastly, is there any news would like to share with our network about the business?
We've got plenty of holidays available. No, we can offer, and this is going to your network. If people come to our website, we can actually offer them a discount. Should you want to go to things, so I'm sure that you can share the details off the back of this. And Devon itself is such a beautiful place. So many people keep saying, "Oh, we can now go abroad. It's fantastic. The weather, etc." Every time that we've been down to Devon on holiday ourselves, we're finding new things, new coves, new beaches, so much to do. The resort that we're on is a spa resort. So they've got their own spa on there, indoor pools, outdoor pools, activities for kids. By all means, it's not Butlins, it's not a haven. It's very much of a quiet resort, but with so much to do. So, and also if you're looking to start up in business, if you're watching these feeds and looking for inspiration, and I would say to those, just go for it, because you don't want to live in regret. If you think you can do something, you probably can. And just go out, seize the moment and try your hardest. And, success is there. You can do it. I've always wanted to set up my own business, but never knew exactly what to do it in. And this kind of fell on my lap. But if you've got a business idea, you sound it out to people. So whether it is a business coach or whoever, to say, this is what I've got, I don't know if this will work, what do you think? Just go for it, because it may be a completely different feel to you're currently doing. But I think, it could be a great success, and it could really change your life, as it has for me.
Great. Well, I can definitely appreciate it has for you. And, I just can't thank you enough for all of what you've shared with us today about your entire story. And Devon Holidays sounds great. And I would definitely encourage everybody to now come to this amazing resort in Devon, but also book early, right? Don't leave it till last minute.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can leave it till last minute. We won't complain, but we do appreciate the earlier the better.
Yeah. Well, Jason, it's been wonderful today, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we are really looking forward to sharing this on our Spotlight network. So we'll let you get on with your day today then, Jason.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and have a good day, everyone.